I just watched the Iranian movie directed by Ali Abbasi. It's called Ankabut Muqaddas, Holy Spider. It is about a Muslim serial killer who killed around 17 prostitutes, 17 body workers in the city of Mashhad, I believe. This is not the first movie that was made on the life of this serial killer. There was another movie, I guess, some years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was called Killer Spider or something. Um, there are two very important things that I wanted to talk about in the backdrop of this movie. I got no problems with the movie. I mean, cinematography is okay. The plot is okay, considering that it is based off of the life of a real serial killer and whatnot. Acting is fine. The actors did a good job. It's an adult movie. Probably MPAA rating would be around 18 plus, or maybe 21 in some cases, I guess. So I got no qualms with the movie itself. But what I really wanted to talk about, and a very important thing at that, is the depiction of Muslims as fanatics. If you watch this movie, most of the characters, most of the characters in the movie are obviously Muslim. And most of those characters are just fundamentalists, extremists, fanatics. It is like probably making a movie about the murder of the Sri Lankan manager here by accusing him of blasphemy, or the murder of Mashal, or the murder of those two brothers in Sialkot, accusing them of robbery, and making a movie about that incident, and then depicting everybody in Pakistan as a fanatic, everybody in Pakistan as an extremist, a fundamentalist. That's my problem with the depiction of Muslims in the movie. Um, I guess the director wanted to probably drive his point across forcefully, and he thought of taking the artistic liberty to exaggerate artistically this factor and other factors in the backdrop of these serial killings. But depicting Shiite Islam as fundamentalist, fanatic, and, you know, downright nonsensical. This is something I take a problem with, because definitely Islam is not a religion that allows the killings of anyone by anyone, right? So it is pretty unequivocal in the Quran. It is stated unambiguously in the Quran that you cannot take the law in your own hands, right? So it is pretty obvious that all of these people who do these kinds of acts, murdering other people by passing a judgment onto them by themselves, not following the law, not going to the authorities, it is quite obvious that these people are criminals, terrorists. But trying to portray these kinds of situations as getting the kind of, I don't know, I mean, how would you put it? The kind of celebrity status from amongst the Muslims themselves who are fanatics, and praising these kinds of acts is just downright silly. Nobody, no Muslim in their right mind backs up the act of killing without lawful justification, right? And so that's my problem number one with the movie. The other problem is And I think that was probably part of the director's thinking as well, part of his strategy as well. Um, the second thing is the complexity with which the issue is dealt with, and it's not the kind of good enriching complexity that we talk about in plot and structuration and thematic concerns and whatnot. It's not the kind of layering, if you like, that is often sought after by the writers, by the playwrights, by artists. It's the kind of complexity that arises from confusion which is deliberately interwoven into the plot. And again, it's not the kind of confusion, artistic confusion that is sought after in artistic fields, in literature. It's not that kind of an artistic flavoring. It's just mindless confusion. Probably the writer, the director, the ones involved with the movie themselves got a little confused about certain things. Maybe they were themselves exploring some of these issues, some of these themes. Whatever the case may be, I was reminded of Seven. I wasn't reminded of Seven as much, the movie with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. Excellent movie, one of my all-time favorite movies. I wasn't really reminded of Seven when I watched the previous iteration called Killer Spider. But then that movie is not really much to be talked about. But watching this movie, it had strong reminiscence of Seven in it, because Kevin Spacey's character in Seven, he also talks about when he murders a whore. He also talks about, I'm sorry to be politically correct, when he murders a body worker. I should probably not use that W word. So when he kills a body worker, he says some very similar things. In fact, some of the things are exactly the same. The only difference is that Seven is working within the framework of biblical references, and this movie is obviously in the backdrop of Islam. The reference point here is Islam. So that's the difference between the movies. But keeping that difference aside, otherwise, there are strong recurrents of the movie Seven. And so the problem with this movie is the confusion that it creates. And that confusion is where religious duties or religious obligations intermingle with crime. And so if you yourself are confused in certain matters of this type, I think then artistic exaggeration doesn't really work. I'm a huge fan of layered complexities, huge fan of that. But the complexities in this movie did not come across as artistic or as layered or as, as something that could be enjoyed and explored further. And so the confusion is general. If you kill a body worker, is that justified in Islam or is that not justified in Islam? Because I think the premise is man ra'a minkum munkaran fa alayhi an yughayyirhu bi yadihi. Whomsoever from among you sees a bad thing happening, they should stop it with their hand. That's a wadih hukm. That's a hukm al-shar'i. That's a decree by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so, looking at it this way, if you're doing this, if you're, for example, killing a body worker, somebody who makes money by selling her or his body, or their body, you know. We have all the pronouns nowadays to choose from. If you're killing them, if you're killing people like these, if you're killing these body workers and all of these people, are you doing Islam a service? Are you following this decree of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So that's the kind of confusion that is created by this movie. And again, this is not the kind of complexity that could be called artistic, because the exploration isn't there. If you want to create artistic complexity, you have to explore the themes. The characters of the body workers are the only characters which are explored. The character of the killer isn't explored well in the movie. The character of the journalist is not explored well. None of the other characters, they're all cardboard characters. That police officer, who supposedly is a fanatic and whatnot, you know, he's just a cartoon. He's somebody out of, I don't know, a morality play where you have cardboard characters, where you have stick figurines. This is good, this is bad, this is evil, this is Satan, this is saint. And I was just kind of laughing out loud by the way this whole religious fanaticism and religious extremism was treated in the movie. However, there was a documentary, and Along Came a Spider. The documentary was called And Along Came a Spider, Ankaboots. You should look it up. It is available on YouTube. The whole documentary is available on YouTube. Something that was extremely shocking was that son of this serial killer, him praising his father, him being brainwashed by the mother and other people around him, and him endorsing the morality of the father, endorsing the actions of the father, and in fact aspiring to continue his work. That was pretty shocking, and I think that was well portrayed in this movie as well, The Holy Spider. But I think, again, not very well explored. Well presented, but not very well explored. Yeah, we do have these problems in our society. I mean, there is no denying it. Religious fanaticism, extremism, we have it in Christian societies, we have it in secular societies, we have it in religious societies, we have it especially in the societies of the third world countries. That's the whole point. That's why the suicide bombing and the terrorism and whatnot. But to create that confusion and to cement it, to add to the confusion, I think that is one of the things that I would differ with on many levels. And so if you haven't watched the movie, I think you should. Beware, it has strong sexual content. It's an adult movie, language, violence, sexual acts, everything, the whole shebang. So it's definitely not suited for the kids. But if you're an adult and you're interested in subjects like these, I think you should watch this movie. Iranian cinema comes up with good movies. They've made some excellent movies over the years. And I think it's very relevant to the current Muslim situation. But again, these were my qualms with the movie. It's not a critical appraisal. I'm not presenting you with a paper on the movie, on a paper studying the movie. These were just my thoughts before I forgot about the movie, and I just finished it. I just finished watching it, and so I thought, I'll make a quick live video about it. Maybe talk to you guys about certain issues pertaining to this movie. So, all right, I guess I should leave you guys with this for now, and I hope that some of the things that I've just explored here make sense and you guys would think about it. a little further and maybe go and watch the movie. Or not. Free world, yeah. So if you don't want to watch the movie, don't. If you want to watch the movie, watch. But think about these issues. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.